Hello class, I hope everyone is doing well. Today what I'm going to be talking about is keeping a sketchbook and showing you an example of one of the sketchbooks that I keep, how it relates to kind of the physical objects, and what the function of it really is. Okay, so up until now we've been able to work pretty spontaneously, whether it was with the pinch bowls. That's kind of, it doesn't take a lot of direct planning. Okay, with the texture, that was a great fun exercise for us to go out and really kind of take and look at texture, get you out there looking at some very detailed things in the world, and hopefully pulling from that, and that you can pull from those. Another way to work is to start planning everything, and going into week 3, and whenever we're going and cutting up our hollow constructions and starting to build a sculpture out of that, we really need to develop our ability to make something with intent and have a deliberate thing, a deliberate result. Okay, something that you're interested in, and some sort of goal that you're really kind of making for yourself. And when we talk about the function of a sketchbook, that's really one of the most important things, is to work out ideas, to make something that is with intent, to help you document your ideas, and to really give you a place to get a little kind of quick sketch over and done with before you commit to your physical piece. So you can work out many ideas on paper before you go and commit it to an actual ceramic piece that you end up spending 2-3 weeks on. And this is just kind of a little segment of one of my sketchbooks, and I just want to show you how this particular piece, this little goblet, kind of came about, and the process of also making a teapot here. So if we go and kind of look here at the physical piece itself, I started off just kind of going around and making little, not just sketches and everything, but also just little objects out of clay to see what objects and what forms I was really interested in. And what I came up with was throwing this nice thin little bowl shape, bending it, okay, into an oval, then putting these little triangular shapes into it, and keeping a little thick lip here, okay? And I really liked it, not just as the form in itself, but the shape, okay? And then the next thing was I wanted to build it up. I thought it had a really good quality to it, that it could be not just a small little bowl that fits inside of the hand, but also as a wine goblet or something along that line. And so if you look at it, it's really kind of the same shape repeated, okay? Triangular shape here, triangular shape here, gives it kind of a beautiful hourglass shape. And all these little add-ons are just little highlights over here of a big splash kind of coming forward, and 2 little ones kind of this way. So there was also this kind of thing I was pulling from nature, thinking about what does one object look like when it's kind of in motion, smashing into another object. So if you think of a rock kind of hitting water, and it's splashing one way and getting that reaction back the other way as well, that was something that was on my mind, okay? So when we're talking about anamorphic designs or biomorphic abstractions in this next project, this is a pretty good example of it. And it's also a nice kind of example of how you can also choose to work. So this little triangular shape, just think about the 2 hollow shapes that you have. You could make a hollow shape of that one ball here, one here, those 2 smashing into each other, and pouring out the other side, giving it that liquid kind of form to it. And when I made this, the next step from it was to go, oh, I like a shape, I like this object, I want to experiment with this and make it go forward, okay? And one way in order to, get things done a little bit faster is to work in sketching things out on its own. So here's a nice little teapot form. We see how kind of they relate as a family. It's still to that kind of hourglass shape in the middle, but then there's a slab over top of it. And I bent the slab down to give it that kind of Dr. Seuss tree look. I experimented with what size this spout should be. So all of these little ideas, whenever I'm going in sketching and drawing, should spout be smaller? Should it come out to the side? What angle should it be at? And then there's the inspout here, the hole going in, and how that's really just a nice little spiraling kind of shot glass. Okay. Here's a little side view and everything so you can see that. Great. So let me show you how I kind of organize my sketchbook too. Now, there are many, many different ways to organize your sketchbook, and basically almost everyone I know who is in any art field, they develop their own way about going about things. And so this is, you can be as diverse as you want in your sketchbook, but some of the main things are to get information on paper and start working with it, okay? And start figuring out how you best learn how to manipulate an object before you get to that object, how you learn how to plan beforehand, how you learn how to engineer, how you learn how to build a puzzle that doesn't exist, okay? That's really kind of the essence of one of the projects that we're making right now, is making a puzzle that doesn't exist yet. And you get to create that puzzle, what that picture is at the very end. So starting off of here, starting with an object itself, I went and redrew that, okay? Or at least a brief understanding of it. And it doesn't have to be this, in detail. I know everyone is kind of starting off. But keeping that essence of what is that triangle and those kind of jack-o'-lantern eyes. I don't have to do any shading. It doesn't have to be extremely accurate. All it's doing is just looking at that shape so I can go and repeat it over and over again and just make little small adaptations, okay? So here it is. What if I move this little body over to the side, okay? What if that rock, what I talked about going into water hitting, they're both hitting at the same angle and then creating a huge wave, kind of coming off of that, okay? I'm looking at the whole, the thing is, the body as a whole here. But then I'm starting to think about, well, what if this shape had a handle? I'm just daydreaming. What if the handle was more, architectural here, this little oval shape, and it helped the form itself. So when I'm drawing this smaller part right here, it's kind of a, would it be in the back? Would it be in the front over here? So maybe that little handle's like right up here at the top. So here's an oval, more architectural kind of arch coming out of it. Here's one that's a little bit more organic with, it's looking more here at that drip here, doubling that here, coming off to the side. So I'm repeating that shape, okay? Here's what it would kind of look like on a teapot. Notice I don't have to make the entire body, okay? I don't have to be accurate. I can redraw lines anytime I want. In fact, when I work in a sketchbook, I don't use a pencil. I don't use anything that I can erase with. And that's in order that whatever it is right there on paper. I'll redraw it. It doesn't matter. It makes me have to draw something 5, 10, 15, 30 times to get it right. With a pencil, I would feel that I could keep, erasing it until I got it perfect, but I'm not concerned about getting it perfect on paper right now. Okay. The next part here is I'm more looking at the shape. Well, what if I branched off from that teapot? I'm repeating top, bottom here. Oh. Yep. Switching over here, I found that I really liked those two lines. And what if I started bringing it into more pottery forms, more thrown on the wheel, as in something that's nice and parallel. Okay. And I started experimenting with that. What if it's really just a detail that belongs on the lid of some sort of vessel? What if it's a round shape broken up into that? And right away, I found that that was a little cul-de-sac, you know what I mean? A little evolutionary cul-de-sac. That means you went off in one direction, found that you didn't like it, okay, found that it was a little U-turn, and you just came right back out of it in order to continue, on your arch, on that, learning curve. Okay, I abandoned that really quick. Came over here to the next page, and now I'm just grouping things off a little bit more here. So I'm looking at this shape again. What if I made it much more pointier at the bottom, tilted it left and right? I've only been thinking about it in the sense of, what if I changed the purpose behind it? And what I mean by purpose is that was a wine glass at first, and then that was a teapot itself. What if I switched it into a jar? Now I need to start putting a cover on top of it. That changes the whole point of view. Then lugs can come in, little tiny handles. What if I go and I use another technique of, like, I'm building upon the rhythm of the piece, you know, that kind of diamond shape? What if I repeat that, or what we call is echoing? We have a large piece and it's echoed smaller off into the distance. Okay? Now this could work out perfect, you know, if you have those two hollow pieces, you know, and you have smaller ones that are going up and down, you know, then you would be building more onto it. Just because we have two pieces here, think about it as that might be the body of your piece, and you might be adding on to it. Okay? Here it is, you know, revisioning it again. In order to be a larger tray with smaller little kind of cruette set. Okay? Yeah. So this right here is one way I work. If you want to keep it in a nice big book and everything like that, sometimes what I end up doing is make an entire book that is just really made up of scrap pieces of paper of me drawing on and basically stapling together and building together. One way of not working in the book, if you don't feel that you can make that type of commitment, is to go and start working on scrap pieces of paper. Okay? So here's a completely different way, you know, of viewing things here. Another fun kind of teapot here. And you can work on it. And if this is something that you don't like, you end up throwing it away. It really doesn't matter, okay? It matters that you're thinking about something and you're starting to learn how to project, you know, thinking about the future. So here's kind of a way to start building upon what you would be doing with your pieces too. Great. So this is a small little tidbit of what we will be talking about and discussing in class. But really the next assignment that we're going to be doing, this is really for, you know, I guess Monday, but also the Wednesday classes, is to start to get some sketches together. Look at the mode that I kind of went in. Start with your hollow construction. Start thinking about what it would mean to, you know, draw a couple circles. Okay? Start to cut those kind of circles up, at least on paper. Okay? Think about how they'll fit together. Start to look at other objects. Maybe there's something outside that you want to start bringing in. Okay? If you want to start going into any of those kind of natural forms, start looking up any pictures and imagery. Okay? Just like how we went and looked at texture for stamps, start to look at those. Okay? And just get a few sheets together, a few ideas together. Right now it doesn't matter about, don't call anything good or bad. It matters that we start to commit to something. And really it's not, you know, the full commitment of your piece yet. It's really just to start daydreaming, start using your imagination so that we can start to create something day one, or start having a direction for us to go in. Great. That's about it. We'll definitely go into this in way more in depth whenever we are in class. But, you know, start working today. Great. Oh.